In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still back.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and that over there is Cash Krause. How you doing, Cash?
Oh, it is good to be back,
It is
Mason.
good to be back. Should we confess?
Yes, absolutely.
So we kept up with the podcast and everything, but and you guys would not have known any different.
No, because we're professionals.
Because we're professionals.
Absolutely.
We always keep the content a-rolling.
It's
no
high
matter
tier.
what.
Always high tier here at the High Side Podcast.
Absolutely.
That's what we do for the fans.
But little secret that no one was in on until just now.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Cash went on a little 12-day...
little vacay.
what is it called? A road trip?
Yeah, sabbatical.
Sabbatical, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Arizona.
Nice.
Just a desolate hellhole,
Oh,
Arizona.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't have too many kind things to say about Arizona.
It's sunny a lot.
It is.
It's
very hot, very
sunny,
warm.
very warm. My God, so warm you can't really go outside for more than 5 minutes. No one
Without
can.
frying.
Oh, without dying. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Frying or dying.
Yeah, you just can't. It's a desert.
It is.
Why they built a city in the desert?
You will never know.
It's just stupid man things.
It is.
Everyone
Men are dumb.
said don't build a city there. They said, oh, we're gonna fucking build a city there.
did, yeah.
No one tells us where, and they did. And man, are those people thriving?
Yeah.
Thriving, surviving. It is the South, though.
It is.
Don't forget that.
It is the South.
They like to say Southwest. It's the South. But yeah. So we came back, but I'm glad to be back in the studio.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Glad to have you back.
And you picked a heavy movie
I
to
did.
review, to come back to.
Yes.
Of course.
Well, it's an A24 film for one. And if you know anything about this podcast, that is probably our favorite.
Yeah, well, we usually give pretty high... we're not
ratings,
fanboys, but they usually do
I
pretty
don't know,
good
dude.
stuff.
I almost went to their website and bought some merchandise. That's how big of I am a fan.
See how much
A24.
the mermaid carving sold for? Like 144,000.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and all that stuff went to charity too. The little
that's
carving
pretty
that he
awesome.
goes crazy
Yep.
for. I know I would have loved to have that thing.
Yeah.
But 144,000. So I doubt you were gonna go on there and buy something.
No, I just meant like buy a dad hat that said
Oh,
A24
I did see
on
those
it.
hats.
Yeah, I
They're
like
pretty
them.
nice.
I
I
didn't-
like them too.
But I did buy a few more for the podcast. I'm like, man, I got to switch it up a little bit. I wear the same shirts and the
Smart.
same hats. So
Smart.
I bought a few new hats.
Yes. But what did you pick? What are we reviewing?
We
today?
are reviewing Moonlight.
Moonlight, the 2016 coming of age drama.
Yes.
Directed by Barry Jenkins.
Yep.
We're always right on the cusp of new things here.
We are.
Always about 5 years late on anything that's
On any
going
review.
on. Yeah.
But to be fair, we didn't even have this. This podcast did not even exist when this film came out.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, it kind of fucking blew up the Oscars that year. Blew up every award.
Yeah.
It got 8 nominations, a ton of Golden Globes, but Golden Globes,
Yeah.
they're just giving those fuckers out. But yeah.
Well, hey, I would not be mad if we ever made something or a performance and I won a Golden Globe, I'd be ecstatic. So.
Yeah. But everyone that gets a Golden Globe are just hoping that transforms to an Oscar.
Oscar as well, yes.
But because Golden Globes, that's a more fun, laid back kind of.
It is.
Everyone's getting drunk there.
Right, everyone's having a good time.
Oscars is just high tension.
It's suits and everyone's quiet.
And
no one's
this
laughing.
year, someone folded under the tension. Warren Beatty, when he was giving the Oscar to Moonlight, if we recall, he gave it to La La Land because he got a duplicate of Best Actress.
Yeah, that's,
somehow, they gave 98-year-old Warren Beatty the wrong envelope. How does that happen?
I don't
You
know.
almost got to think it happened on purpose.
You have to
Like
at some
someone
point.
back there
said
was
him
not
up.
a Warren
Someone
Beatty
set
fan.
that guy up.
But yeah, it was a crazy year.
Oh gosh.
But they won a lot of Oscars, and they broke a lot of new ground. Like Mahershala Ali was the first Muslim, which is insane to ever win an Oscar because there's a lot of Muslims.
There
and you think
are.
by now someone would have won.
I mean, I think half the world is popular. Yeah.
But yeah, crazy. And I think it was the first black woman to win for like best editing too.
Yeah, best editing.
And of the first film to like feature about a gay person to ever win. So it broke a ton of ground. And I think it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, this film is pretty good.
Yeah. Seriously. And it's a different type of film too, because it's really broken into 3 parts.
And I love that. I love that.
I mean, it's kind of the same. It's a story structure, but it's specifically noted.
And it's a coming of age, so you know it's going to involve, kids. But I like the way it splits it up to like childhood, teenhood, and then adulthood. I really like that. But yeah, it won for Best Picture and Best Actor, and I think that was it, right?
Best Adapted Screenplay
and Best
as well.
Adapted Screenplay. Yep. Yeah, crazy. Nominated for 8, and on a $1 million budget.
Crazy.
And shot in 25 days in Miami.
Wow.
Is that insane?
Under a month.
And that, again, it broke more ground because that is the cheapest film to ever win a Oscar.
It is, and also at the box office, the cheapest.
And you know what
to
film?
Win an Oscar as well.
And you know what film it beat? Rocky. Rocky was made at the time for $1 million.
Really?
But with inflation, it would have been made more than
yeah.
for what this was made. So this ended up winning. But yeah, Rocky was made for $1 million.
Yeah, it's just another reason why I love A24. Like in what they're able to produce. It's just incredible.
Yeah, they're able to stretch the dollar for sure.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt was executive producer, and his I think his production company, Plan B, also had a hand in producing it.
Yeah.
And he like
what a name for a production company. Plan B.
Plan B. Yeah, yeah. They do. He produces. Everyone's got their own production company.
They do.
Leo does. I think Tom Cruise, probably Scientology backed.
Right.
So that one probably has a lot of both. But yeah, what did you think about this movie? Because you had not seen it before,
I had
right?
never. No, this is one that has been on my list forever. And I was just scrolling through Netflix and I saw that it was on Netflix and I was like, oh, we got to do this. Because it is a film I've wanted to see for almost 5 years now. But I was very, very pleased with this. It definitely lived up to the hype.
The acting is what really blows me away.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, even the small, I mean, Mahershala Ali I swear he's on screen for 4 minutes.
Well, and it blew me
It
away.
is such, yeah, and it's crazy because you don't, especially the first time, this is the second time I watched it, but the first time I was like, oh, he's got to be coming back.
Yep. I thought he was a main character. Never came back.
It never shows him again, not even in a
Nope.
flashback. I mean, it's crazy, but his role is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a great role that you really want to see just 2 hours of him raising this kid.
Yeah.
But man, this movie is depressing. It's one of those films that I always have trouble like rewatching it. One of those that stuff. It has a great ending, which you almost think watching it first time it's not going to end well.
Right.
But it ends pretty. But man, getting there is a fucking climb.
I was we're talking about the acting. I was very impressed with the young Chiron.
Yeah.
I really was impressed with that kid. And especially the final scene that he had with Ali.
Oh yeah.
That final piece of dialogue. I was like, wow.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It is heartbreaking.
It is.
But yeah, and it's something cool that the director did, and it shows you how great Barry Jenkins is as a director. Was he made sure that all of the versions of Chiron never met the actors in real life, so they all brought something different. And
that's really smart.
You
actually.
see that in each chapter, they all kind of feel like their own take on the role.
Yep.
They don't feel exactly the same, but yeah, it was super, super smart.
Well, and it's so true too. I mean, like you categorize someone's 3 parts in life. You're not the same person.
Oh, absolutely.
I am not.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was when I was 15, 16, and I wasn't the same person when I was 9 or 10. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
It really is an evolution of like your entire life as a whole. So it is actually a brilliant idea that Jenkins like kept all 3 of the actors separated.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Didn't have them meet. That's a great idea.
But this just isn't just any normal kid because he's living in Liberty City, which is one of the most impoverished neighborhoods in the United States. So it is a rough fucking upbringing. It's a little different from like the coming of age films that we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're not used to seeing it focused on a black kid coming up. I mean, it's not something that we're used to seeing, and it is, man, it's fucking tough.
It is.
It's rough going.
Especially some of the early scenes in the first
with
act
his mom.
Little, yeah,
It's
and his mom. I'm just like,
mom,
oh my god.
played by Naomi Harris, who was filming James Bond at the time. Who had to film her roles in 3 days, so they had to film it all out of order to film her. Yeah,
Jeez.
so she does. And man, does she have a tough role to play. She is the worst mom. I mean,
yeah.
But you feel just horrible.
You feel bad because like she was caught in this cycle, and then she's trying to make amends for her past.
Yeah,
and it's just like it is heartbreaking, especially that final line where she's like, I know you may not love me, but I just need you to know that I love you.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, oh my god, man. Like I just like try not to cry. It's just
absolutely, yeah. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
It's like so many of them are going through the exact same thing, and growing up without a father, and then having a mom that's addicted to crack.
Yep.
He was
then
so
having
lucky.
a father figure, and then finding out and realizing as a 9-10-year-old that the father figure in your life is your mother's drug dealer.
Yes, and then because obviously he hated anything to do with drugs, and it you could tell it broke his heart, and it broke Marshall Ali's character's heart too. That they both had to go. That was a heartbreaking scene.
Yes, it was.
For sure. All right, should we get into it? Should we break it down?
Yeah, let's jump into the plot.
All right. So so chapter 1 titled Little.
Yep.
Because that's what everyone calls.
Everyone called
what's his name? Chiron.
Chiron.
In Liberty City, Miami, Afro-Cuban drug dealer Juan, who's played by Marshall Ali, finds.
Is it Chiron or Chiron?
It's Chiron. Yeah. Oh, is it Chiron?
I think it's Chiron.
I don't know, because they barely use that name.
They barely use a name.
They call him Black, and they call him Little.
Chapter 3, yeah.
But yeah, Juan finds Chiron, or Chiron, whatever you want to say, in he calls it a dope hole. Mm-hmm. And it's just these abandoned, projects.
Well, it's because those kids were picking on him.
Yeah, they're calling him
Throwing
Little.
rocks
yeah.
and stuff at him.
Yeah, calling him all kinds of names, and he ran off, and luckily, man, this fucking amazing. I mean, he's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole thing you got to fight it with. He's this amazing guy, but he's also selling drugs. But he's just making the best out of his situation that he was put in.
And again, great writing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really great writing because, you can see the wrong, and obviously drug dealing's not good and it affects people's life. But at the same time, he's not a bad person either. So you feel for the character.
And it makes it
an emotional investment.
So no character is one-sided,
exactly.
too. They're very multidimensional. But yeah, you feel for him. You also, you struggle to like him as well. But he really is a great fucking guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, Chiron got very lucky because a lot of kids don't find that guy or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, he finds him. He kind of takes him under his wing, goes and gets him food. And he goes in and meets and he introduces to his woman, also played by Janelle Monáe, who we just reviewed Antebellum.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, she's in that too,
and she's amazing in this too. She's awesome in it. But and you feel bad for her too because.
Well, and she in a sense she kind of plays the mother figure.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Chiron's mom is not,
there.
Obviously there.
At all, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is the family that you would have wished you were born into.
Right.
Even though Juan is does deal crack. Yeah. But, and he introduces to Teresa, which is his wife, and they slowly kind of, Chiron warms up to him.
Yeah, because he's not talking at all. He's silent.
Neither would I.
No.
Yeah.
I love that
guy
scene.
just takes me to a fucking die. But of course, this is happening in it's the 90s, right? Early
I think
90s
so
or
at this
something
time.
like
Yep.
that. Yeah.
I do love that scene with him and Ali when he's taking him to the diner, and he takes away his food.
Yeah, and that's when he gets some.
And he gets really upset. And he's like, "Hey, man, I wouldn't do that to you. I was just messing around. Calm down. It's all good."
Well, and that this kid looks like he's damn near fucking starving too. Mm-hmm. So
well, yeah, that's why.
And
hence
especially
the name Little.
growing up really poor too, you really covet food. When you can get it, you get as much as you can possibly can. So yeah, taking food, that was the only thing that kind of got him to open up and whatnot. And he finally told them where his house is, so they dropped him off after staying the night with him though.
Yeah, the next morning.
Yeah. Imagine that. Drug dealer just fucking fights. Hey, we're getting breakfast. Guess I'm your kid now. But it's the best possible thing that could happen. Again,
Absolutely.
I just wanted a 2-hour, I want a sitcom version of this where he's just teaching them how to swim, teaching them about life, you know?
Yeah.
But and that's something they do. They go to the ocean and he teaches young Chiron how to swim.
I love the way that was shot too.
It's shot so beautifully,
yes,
man.
it is.
And Miami is just, I mean, say what you want about Florida, Miami's beautiful.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
But Florida is this crazy stark contrast where it's so naturally beautiful, but it's so many dark things happen there. You know, so many crappy neighborhoods, but you have this pristine, beautiful place. So it's this crazy contrast, and it works really well for this movie.
It does.
But yeah, he teaches how to swim, and it's a great scene. And he really taught him how to swim right there. The actor playing him did not know how to swim. So you're seeing it,
that is really
you're
cool.
Seeing it on screen happen. And but eventually Juan goes to his spot or whatever where he deals, and he sees Paula, Chiron's mom, smoking that crack
With her boyfriend.
hitting it. Well, yeah, boyfriend. I mean, just the guy that supplies her coke or crack. But yeah, and they make kind of a scene, and it's fucking real awkward. And it's again a heartbreaking. This movie is a heartbreaking movie, but she smokes it right there and says, "You're not gonna stop selling because you're a drug dealer, and I'm a drug addict." And it sucks.
It does.
It hurts, but she's gonna smoke her crack.
Well, and then she's pissed off too that he's hanging out. She's like, "What are you going to be, his father?"
Yeah.
Like she's freaking out on him too at the same time because
she's
she realizes at the same time she knows she's in the wrong doing drugs, like having a kid, but at the same time, like she doesn't want this drug dealer to be the father figure because he's supplying her with drugs.
And
it's
a crazy, it's a crazy. I mean, and just imagine this as a kid. I mean, you see all this happening. Imagine how confusing that is for a kid.
Just trying to process all of it as a 9-10-year-old. Like that's, oh my gosh, it's got to be brutal.
Yeah.
It's got to be so confusing too.
And on top of that, he's constantly being bullied. Everyone calls him gay because, I mean, he's gay. From very early on.
That is one thing that this film did so well is I kept thinking my own overwhelming thought throughout this whole film, and especially during the little part, was there was no escape.
Oh,
there was no place for this kid ever to just relax and be himself. He would get bullied at school and tormented at school. He would go home and his mom would be doing drugs. And then the one father figure he does find, and he finds out, you know, that he's a drug dealer. And it's just like, oh my gosh. After that first chapter, I'm just like, geez, this is heavy.
It's a horrible fucking existence that so many kids really go through. I mean, every fucking day. But yeah, and it does play a heavy toll on your psyche, you know, just mentally. And what this movie does so well is show like how that affects these kids at school. You know, all this torment stuff's happening in their personal life, and then they act out in fucking school.
Yeah.
But people only ever see them acting out and just assume, oh, those are just fucking bad kids. They don't see the shit that's happening, you know, behind the fucking scenes of what's going down. But school life, it's not existent for most of these kids. No. I mean, these kids are just there for I don't even know.
I know. And then like towards the teenage years, but also as a child, like I was starting to think, I was like, man, how hard would it be to be dealing with all of this going on when you're just trying to figure out life in general, and then to try to go to school and to sit there and focus and learn. So hard.
Yes.
You know? Like it's just like, again, no escape, and there's no just place where you can just like chill and just it's just awful.
Well, there's
so awful.
a million fucking studies of exactly that, and it shows how it's and just like going to bed hungry is just is horrible for your grades and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so shitty. But yeah, so he sits him down and he talks to him and he asks him. He says that all the kids call him gay, and he's so young that he doesn't even know. I mean, kids that age don't know what gay and straight is or whatever.
Right, yeah.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
But they're living in such a crazy society with constraint that it's so, and these kids are so homophobic that on top of this kid being bullied at school and being gay, it's fucking rough for this kid.
Yeah.
And again, Juan tells him that he's dealing drugs and that he's dealed to his mom. And that's the last thing we see of Juan.
Yeah.
brutal that they leave it like that.
No, I know. But there was not a better way for that to conclude that first chapter than the kid saying, my mom does drugs, and then he's like, yeah, and he's like, and you sell drugs, and then, seeing him connect it,
and then immediately going, oh, then you have to sell to my mom, obviously.
And then him just getting up and walking out of the house, and you see Ali's character just break down,
and Teresa looking at him just fucking heartbroken.
Yeah.
But and that's in chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 2, Chiron, whatever you call it. He's now a teenager. Things haven't been better.
No, they're not. He's still getting bullied at school.
Yeah, I'm getting bullied, and his mom is still unfortunately smoking crack.
Crack, yes.
But and Teresa now lives alone.
Yeah, and one of the first scenes too is when Chiron's coming home, and his mom goes, "No, you got to get out. You got to get out tonight. Go find somewhere else."
At least I knew immediately what that meant. Was that she is hooking.
Right, hooking. Yeah,
she's a prostitute now to feed her her crack habit.
I mean, that was apparent too when Chiron came home and she's like, "Give me your money. I know Teresa gave you money."
That was late. Yeah, that was later. That was after.
When he came back home.
But yeah, that is a soul crushing scene because you could tell that fucking. Even though he's seen so much of this, that really fucking hurt him.
It still kills you every time.
See your mom. Imagine seeing your mom like that, man. Just horrible, man. Because again, you hate her so much, but again, you have to love her. You
love her, yeah.
So he sees her and he leaves and he stays the night with Teresa because they're still close. But Teresa now lives alone because Juan's dead.
Yeah.
But I just hope he left her like a ton of money or something like that. That's what I was praying
I know,
for. Like,
hopefully.
I just hope he had like a stash or something and she just, because you feel so bad for her.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he treats her, or she treats him really well, just like a son. And they talk about that he can stay there anytime he wants and whatnot. Yeah. And she teaches him how to like make a bed,
which was kind of one of my first thoughts. Is I'd wish for Chiron to just move in with Teresa.
I know
she had a spare bedroom,
but you know that he thought that he couldn't leave his mom, and you couldn't, of course.
Yeah, and I get that. That's an honorable thing,
especially when your mom is in a dangerous business.
Yes.
So I mean, you really don't want to abandon her. So Chiron's friend Kevin, though, they both get detention.
Which he made an appearance when Chiron was little.
He was the only one to kind of be nice to him.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
And he was the one where he's like, you gotta toughen up.
Yeah.
And then they wrestled and got stronger or whatever. He proved that he was tough.
And again, it shows you these crazy restraints that society put on these kids, that they all have to be like super fucking macho and like fight each other and
can't
whatnot.
Show any weakness or anything.
None at all, because the kids will just jump on you. Will just attack it, and it's just again super shitty, super shitty, man.
Yeah,
but I do think that is getting better, and I think kids are more accepting than ever for sure. But
and there's not obviously there's only one school district here, but from the school district that I work at, like. There are a lot more outlets, at least in this district, to where like kids can go, like it's not just sports. Kids have robotics.
Oh yeah,
drama. They have all these different things that they can do. Now.
Absolutely, but man, they are constantly trying to get those.
Yeah.
Just constantly saying we don't, and exactly, you're right. Those are so good for kids that can go and have a safe place, and that's school. School should always be that one safe place. You should never feel you're in danger in school. But the teachers at this school aren't doing a great job of that.
Yeah, no, not in this one, no.
But and because they have so much work on their plate too. Whether they have 50 kids in their class, and it's all these kids are trying to fight each other.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They're all trying to fight each other as well, so that makes it problematic.
So Kevin and Chiron both get detention or whatever, and then they end up hanging out at the beach later, where Kevin gives Chiron a little hand job.
He does.
And that's the first time that Chiron ever, anyone's ever touched him or anything.
Ever.
No one knows that he's gay or whatever. And he's still, dealing with it or whatever and not figuring out what it is.
And there was a big thing, too, like, before all this, when they're in detention, that, like, Kevin's talking about how he had sex with a girl, and that's
that was funny, too, man.
Yeah. And then he
having sex on school grounds.
Yeah, on school grounds, yeah.
And the only guy was detention.
just go sit in detention.
Yeah.
Crazy
Oh,
school.
because he said he loved her.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, it is love.
Well, it
so
is love.
You stop.
You
You're
know?
15. So, I mean, you probably know what you're doing.
Well,
Wild.
And then Chiron has a dream about Kevin.
Yes, exactly.
Having
fantasy.
sex with that girl. Yeah, a fantasy or a dream or whatever. And then that's when it happens when they go to the beach.
Yeah.
And they talk.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's one good moment for Chiron after just the first 50 minutes of shit, besides him being with Juan. But you could tell that nothing has gone good since Juan's death or whatever. Because even in that dinner scene when he's talking to Teresa and his head's down or whatever, you could just see he's fucking depressed as hell.
Of course.
I mean, he's got severe depression. Yeah. Should definitely be talking to a counselor, but I don't think they have those at this school.
And they're not good either. But that was also a really awesome scene, too, with the principal, where he just starts to mute her out. After, I mean, that's a little bit... Well, I'm jumping a little ahead, but
yeah, exactly. He knows
the one person he might have been able to talk to, and he can't even talk to her.
But because he knows nothing's gonna. He knows this shit just goes on day in and day, and nothing changes. So, and again, that's horrible for kids to see. But so next morning, Terrell, that's the bully.
That's the bully. Yep.
That kid, he's fucking a great actor, man. He did a great job in this role.
He did, but as far as the character, a real jackass. A real jackass.
Hate this guy. Yeah. But this scene is so well shot when he's like, when he talks to Kevin, he's like, I'm going to go pick someone, you got to drop him or whatever. And he goes out and he's like,
he set him up for that too.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, hey, do you remember what we used to do?
Yeah, exactly.
He goes, so you're still going to do it? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. No problem.
Yeah.
And then he picks.
So that scene when he goes out and he's walking around and it's like the camera's, he's like spinning around the camera and it's like a lion, like among gazelles or something. He's like picking them out or whatever. Yeah. And it's a crazy scene, but yeah, of course Terrell picks out Chiron for Kevin and he does Kevin because he has to.
Well, and this is a powerful scene too because Kevin strikes Chiron twice.
Yeah, and
the third time he punches him, and he's like, Kevin's yelling at him, stay down, and Chiron's like, no, I'm not going to, and he stands up. Yeah, which is what's the word I'm looking for? It's very. It's symbolic. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Of him finally standing up for himself because Kevin was the guy. He was his friend who taught him to be tough.
Well, he was the only friend that he ever had. And now that this friend, I mean, it just adds on to the horribleness.
It does.
Of just everything about this.
And it was a very defining... only friend,
and that's, again, that culture and society put on the pressure that they put on these kids that they think they have to act this way.
Yep.
And I mean, he did. I mean, by all means, you think Kevin does. You think if not, then these kids are just going to jump him, Mm. And he beats him, and then all the kids end up beating him. And it's sad, but man, it's an awesome scene when he gets revenge. I mean, it's brutal. Again, very sad that it led to this. Mm-hmm. But at
the same time, also a very defining moment in Chiron's life as well. And that scene is so good because you see him
think he kills him,
right?
You think that kid's dead.
Well, because he storms into the building, and he's pissed. He's about to do something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I love the little trick that they did, right? So he's walking through, he's swinging the doors open, and then he gets into class, and he goes to his desk, and for just that split second, I go, oh, he's just gonna sit down. He's just pissed, and then he puts his backpack down. I'm like, okay, yeah, he might sit. Grabs the chair.
Yes,
and just cracks it over Tyrell.
And then another
hit. Yeah.
Which you think, oh, that was the fucking killer. Mm-hmm. I mean, and again, that's all fucking people see was this kid just going crazy in class. No one knows what's going on in his life. And it's so shitty because he gets carted off immediately and immediately sent to juvie.
Yep. And the police arrest him and everything for assault, which is crazy to me that the principal could not put two and two together.
Yeah,
you have Chiron coming into your principal's office, beaten to a pulp. I mean, bloodied and everything. And then the next day,
he didn't press charges though.
I know. That's kind of the thing.
He didn't because he couldn't because it was against Kevin, and he liked him. So, and you can't even then you press charges and you're probably just end up get killed anyway. So now you're a snitch. Now it's just 10 times worse for you. Now everyone thinks you're, gonna tell. So
or a rat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, you just got to take your battles, you know.
Yeah, you do.
You got to pick your. You don't want to be a rat. You don't be a rat on top of being gay, and on top of being not being able to stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
you're not going to survive.
Yeah, true.
But
that stacks up.
And again, he does, but that, like you said, makes, kind of sets in stone where his path is going to go.
Yeah,
he goes to juvie into chapter 2, chapter 3, titled Black. He's now an adult.
He is.
He is now selling dope.
He is.
He is. He's trapping.
Yes.
Which is what he says. And he's pretty much taken the role of Juan, but now he's in Atlanta, Georgia. So things are going good for him.
They are.
And he's a badass. People
respect him.
People respect him. Yeah. People fear him. I don't know if it's respect as much
as
but fear.
They definitely fear him at least, yeah.
Which is the most power he's ever had.
Well, right. And from going to little to his nickname Black, which this dude's jacked.
He's
Chiron
been hitting.
Got jacked.
Yeah, puberty was good for him. Puberty was very good. Because he also did time. He was put away for juvie, and when he got out, he talked about that he hooked up with someone in juvie, and he kind of showed him. He put him on the block, started him dealing. He just worked his way up.
Yep.
You know how it happens.
I'm pretty proficient in the way that it happens.
So yeah, and one day though he gets a call from Kevin, who is now a cook, but who's also done jail time.
Right.
Which is just what happens. Yep. It's the highest percentage. What is 50% or whatever, and the most impoverished 1 out of 2 go to prison or something.
It's pretty crazy.
It's fucking. It's nuts. Statistics. It's nuts. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah. So Kevin, he did jail time and he learned to be a cook, and now I guess he either works at. He might be a manager. I couldn't tell if he was the owner.
I didn't know either.
He was doing everything.
Yeah, he was doing everything, and then just sitting down too.
And for being just out of it's been a year or whatever since he's been out of jail or whatever. They're giving him a lot of power for being an ex-convict and giving him the keys and everything. But he's happy, right?
Yeah.
And he's got kids and whatnot, and he talks to Kevin, and it's an awkward conversation.
Very awkward.
Because Chiron, we're Black now, again, barely speaks.
Yes.
Is very shy.
And I love that thing that Kevin said to him. He goes, kind of what Ali said to him, too, where it was like, hey, I'm making your food. The least you can do is talk to me. You know the rules.
Yeah, he said grandma's rules, which is so fucking true.
It is.
If your grandma makes your food, you gotta fucking talk to her. You gotta talk. And even though you just saw her, I mean, you gotta say. You gotta
get the conversation going. You gotta get this ball rolling, man.
Grandma, I got nothing. You know my story by now. I got no new things to tell you. But because whenever your grandma sees you, it's like her seeing you for the first time.
It is like a big old hug.
Who is this guy? It never knows. Anyways, so he invites Chiron down to Miami to have dinner. And but first Chiron goes and see his mom, who's living in a rehab at this point.
She is.
She's probably 30-something, and she's not looking. I mean, she looks much older than 30.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
But she's better than she's ever been. She's not on crack anymore.
And I love her story of redemption too, because she talks about herself and how, after going to rehab and stuff, she eventually said that she actually found her calling, which was to help other people go through rehab as well.
And you really do feel like this is the first time that she actually does love herself.
Yes.
Because she was so horrible, especially in that early chapter when her and Juan get in the argument. And she's talking about how all the kids make fun of him for being gay. It's just a horrible fucking scene. Especially a horrible thing for a mother to say about her son.
Yeah.
But you see that she's free of this fucking disease, addiction, that she's able to love. But he's still struggling with it, because...
Well, and she tries to say, listen to me and stuff like that. But he's like, well, where were you?
Yeah.
And that's when he gets really upset.
It's absolutely understandable.
It's understandable, of course, yeah. But it's just... You feel for it. You feel for her too, in so many ways. But again, it just goes back to the writing. The writing's so good for these characters because, despite certain characters' flaws, you still have so much compassion for them. That it's just it's a really good.
You see where everyone's coming from. You're like, oh, I absolutely see that he obviously you're so angry because she basically took his child away from him, So you're always mad because you'll never get that back. But then you're happy that she's still alive or whatever. So you want, and she loves her, but
and then she kind of got upset because he was, quote, trapping, but he was like, "You made me who I am. Like you have no reason to talk."
Yeah.
And he almost walks away from her.
He does,
and, she calls him back in, and then that's when we get that really deep emotional scene. But
it's a great scene, crazy she shot that all in 3 days.
I know.
Could
you imagine the prepping for all 3 of those days?
I know.
It's gotta just be brutal.
Each day you have to shoot some crazy fucking dramatic rule that asks so much of you.
Yeah.
And it's not like, because usually, they kind of spread these big scenes out or whatever. Every day she had to have a huge scene.
Yeah. Because every scene was pivotal that she was in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But, so they leave. They leave on good terms. They're tearful, but they kind of reconcile. And he travels back to Miami, beautiful Miami, and he meets up with Kevin.
Yeah.
And Kevin, they kind of talk about what they've been doing or whatever. Kevin talks about, again, he's been in jail. He's like 18 months on probation or whatever. And Chiron tells him that he's been selling crack, which Kevin was not happy about.
But the big thing in Kevin's life, which was the most important thing that really turned it around for him, that put things in perspective, was the fact that he had a child.
He had a kid with the girl that I'm pretty sure he got caught having sex in school. So maybe he did love her at the time.
That sounds like true love.
Which absolutely,
Still with her to
but they're
this
not
day.
together at all.
Or
anymore.
yeah, that's right.
But
they're not.
but that made him show, and it's kind of this turning where Kevin is like this guy that turned away from all the conceptions that everyone had for him.
Yeah.
And Chiron is the guy that became what everyone expected him to become, and what he thought he should become was this hard drug dealer and whatever. But at the end, you can tell that it wasn't satisfying for him.
No.
But it was satisfying for Kevin to have this super mundane life, and you kind of see the contrast of that, and kind of the turning of the different of generations or whatever,
Well, and Kevin says that too in a beautiful way that I don't want to butcher, but he basically says that. He goes, like, I'm getting by, everything's good, nothing's crazy in my life, but I'm happy, I'm content.
Yeah.
Kevin tells him all that.
Yeah, and you can see Chiron sees that, that he's happy.
Yeah.
And eventually, though, he does cook for him. Again, a beautiful scene in the diner with him cooking and everything. And there's like these really long shots that kind of just pan towards like a door or something, and for really long that are throughout the movie, but really good looking. But he cooks some dinner, and they play a song on the jukebox,
which is the whole reason why he said he had thought of him.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why he called him. And again, it's a good encounter, a good exchange between characters, because we see that this is a different Chiron. He has confidence and whatnot. And he still barely talks.
He's a quiet one.
Few words. He's a deep thinker for sure. But yeah, and basically they end up leaving together, and they end up going home. And again, Kevin is kind of disappointed at what Chiron became, because he always thought that he was so different and whatnot. Yeah. And it's kind of heartbreaking. But they say that
I think there's a little bit of I really do believe that there, based on the dialogue, that there was a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of regret in Kevin for that whole situation that happened when they were
absolutely,
teenagers.
yeah.
And I think like Kevin, in some small way, may have felt slightly responsible for how Chiron's life went after that defining moment in his teen years. So like I think for Kevin too, it was a big deal to finally like admit that.
Oh yeah, and because they had that intimate moment, on the beach or whatever, and that scene again was so important because even then when they were alone, they couldn't really even speak about really how they felt. They had to have this weird like candid talk about it, and like dance around or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the first time that they saw each other's true colors or whatever. So Kevin did think that he would kind of grow up to be this, something different or whatever than what society thought. But you're right. What happened ended up sending him down that path, and he definitely felt guilty for sure, because it ended up being exactly what everyone thought, dealing drugs. But the final scene is they're both together. They're both embrace each other.
Yep.
And it's a great scene of him looking back to when he was a kid and them all playing. Again, it's such a picturesque scene. It's so beautiful shot of all the kids and the sun's going down and they're all on the Miami beach playing. Again, it's such an awesome area to it's so beautiful. It's be so awesome to grow up in. But again, so horribly shitty to grow up in that even though it's so awesome and they're having so much fun, you would never do it.
Yeah.
You would never voluntarily go through what every single one of those kids most likely goes through.
And as we brought this up off air too, but it does kind of have that similar feel as far as as to the Florida Project. Where it's Disney World, you live right next to it.
And they're right on the edge of that pristine beauty and that... and it's just this weird thing that everyone wants to pretend that is only what Florida is. It's only this beautiful and hide the ghettos and hide all this shit and whatnot and don't show. But these movies like this open it up and let you see, the real fucking part of Florida, and it's wild.
It is. Florida's a wild place.
It's not all just retiree condos,
No,
and
it is not.
It's a lot of neighborhoods like this, Little Liberty and stuff like that, and it's crazy.
It is.
This was a crazy movie.
It was a crazy movie. Crazy good movie though.
But and it's a movie that, especially with everything going on right now, it's a movie that I think people could take a lot from by watching it.
Yeah.
But that's it.
All right, that is Moonlight. What did you do? We even need to grade this? I mean, it's pretty resounding, A.
Yeah, I think we're both gonna give it an A. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it to anyone. It's not super long. I don't even think it's 2 hours.
No, I think it's only 111 minutes.
Yeah, so it's
less
not,
than 2
but
hours.
Man, it is just so worth watching.
It is.
I mean, it is from every aspect. It is. Just the fact that it was made for $1 million.
That blows my mind. It is so impressive.
I can't get over that.
So impressive.
Man, yeah.
And it won 3 Oscars.
Yes.
And it was made for $1 million. It's just
and people think they got to put $200 fucking million into a movie, and that's the only way it's going to be successful. I mean, this not to say that this not to say that there's so many movies like this, because this is a rarity. For $1 million and to be made in 2016 for $1 million.
Yeah.
I want to know what they shot it on. They had to shot it
curious.
But man, it made $1 million budget. It made 65 times its, even though that was the lowest amount of an Oscar ever made, it made 65 times that. Yeah.
Which is pretty
I remember seeing this movie in theaters. It was fucking well worth thing in the movie theater for sure. But there it is.
Alrighty, well that's Moonlight.
It's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix right now, so be sure to go to Netflix, stream this film. It is definitely worth it if you have not seen it. All right, well, that's it, guys. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. If you guys want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out our YouTube channel. Type in Have You Seen It? Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher. Anywhere you guys get podcasts, that is where we are. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. Till next time.
Bye.